What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about Nano Dimension, ticker symbol NNDM, and I've got a couple of interesting updates for you guys in this video. We have ARK Invest over the past week and a half about selling off a pretty sizable position of NNDM. So we're going to go over exactly what I think they are planning on doing with their NNDM positions in all of their different ETFs. There's going to be a couple of scenarios that I'm going to go over. We also have the CEO sending out a letter to the shareholders and giving us a preview at their earnings report that should be released sometime in March. So if you guys enjoy the information that I provide for you in this video, please go down and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and make sure you turn on that notification bell so you're notified every single time I post a new video and you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So at the current time that I'm recording this video, Nano Dimension is trading pretty flat today. So it's been in kind of a massive run-up, sell-off, and kind of a consolidation period. We've seen it go up and down, but there's really a lot of important events coming up for NNDM, and I think investors don't really know what to make of all of these events until they happen. So let's go over and take a look at some of ARK's trades over the past week and a half where they have actually sold shares of NNDM. Now, we're going to be actually looking at the actual reports that ARK sends out in their trade notifications. A couple of you have pointed out to me that Lucid Tracking and Kathy's ARK is not accurate every single time. Thank you guys for letting me know. I assumed that they were going to be accurate since they were most likely just running a program to put these trades into their system, but that is not the case. So we're going to be using these direct updates from ARK itself in the future. So thank you guys for letting me know. And so right here, we can see that NNDM on February 8th, ARK Q sold off 405,000 shares. So that's a pretty significant amount. And if we go over to the next day when they sold, this is going to be February 3rd, and they sold about 310,000 shares of NNDM. And when you add both of those up, that is around 700,000 shares that ARK Invest has sold of NNDM. So there are a couple of scenarios on what I think ARK Invest is planning on doing with their NNDM position. The first option is I think they are expecting that the shareholder vote on February 15th is going to be passed. And if you didn't know, the NNDM is basically having a shareholder vote, and they are trying to get the shareholders to allow them to issue and raise the amount of shares that they are able to issue to raise more capital for their acquisitions. And what I think ARK is doing is they're freeing up some cash in order to buy the dips when NNDM comes out and announces their next share offering after this vote gets approved. We saw this a lot when NNDM was doing their capital raises. Almost every single time they went up a lot in terms of share price, they would have a massive run up, a share offering, a sell off, and then a massive rally back up. So it's possible that ARK Invest is trying to buy the dip in NNDM by kind of freeing up some cash so they don't have to put any more funds that they don't have allocated for NNDM back into the company. Now, the second thing that I think they are planning on doing is they might be freeing up some cash to actually buy NNDM in their new ARK X Space ETF. We've seen a couple of different hints that Nano Dimension will be added into this ETF. One of the reasons is that all of the companies that are going to be added to this ETF are going to be high conviction plays as determined by the advisor, which is going to be Kathy Wood. And as we've seen over the past couple of months, ARK Invest has been pouring a lot of money into Nano Dimension every single week. So it's safe to say that they do have a very high conviction in this company. They also directly mentioned 3D printing in their SEC filing. So when you combine those two together, I think it is very possible that NNDM is going to be added to this ETF. And I think those are the two main reasons why ARK Invest might be selling off some of their positions in NNDM. So now let's get into some of the earnings preview estimates that the CEO of Nano Dimension, Yoav Stern, has actually released to us. But before we get into that information, we need to have an idea of when these earnings results are going to be released. If we come over here, we can see that March 9th, 2021 is the estimated and projected earnings date for Nano Dimension. Now, this date is not confirmed, and we could see the actual date that they are going to be announcing be a week after or a week before this March 9th date. So we are just going to have to keep a lookout for when this exact date is going to be announced. So if we go over to here, we can see Nano Dimension's CEO letter to shareholders. So Nano Dimension, an industry-leading additively manufactured electronics provider, today announced a preview of its financial results for the year ended December 31st, 2020. On a preliminary basis, Nano Dimension reported unaudited revenue of approximately $3.4 million for the year ended December 31st, 2020, approximately $990 million of cash reserves, and no debt as of January 31st, 2021. The above information reflects preliminary estimates with respect to certain results of Nano Dimension for the year ended December 31st, 2020, based on currently available information, but because the audit is not yet complete, Nano Dimension's final results may vary from the preliminary estimates. And Yoav Stern actually made a comment about this, as I have commented in our quarterly results conference calls since May 2020, as well as in presentations to dozens of new investors during the 8 capital raising transactions totaling $1 billion since May 2020. The pandemic affected the sales of our Dragonfly LDM systems in 2020. In fact, he stated publicly that the revenue in 2020 could be close to zero, and he is very pleased with the results that they have actually delivered. Now, this $3.4 million is only an estimate, but either way, the CEO is very pleased on what they were able to accomplish in such harsh market environments. And then if we come down a little bit further, Yoav Stern actually goes into some of the reasons why they were able to actually generate this revenue. So a large number of upgrades of the older Dragonfly Pro into our next generation system, the 24/7 Dragonfly LDM, which is indicative of the high level of customer satisfaction and their continued utilization of our machines. Approximately 70% of our Dragonfly Pro customers have upgraded their machines. Now that's really great. It makes sense that the customers are very satisfied, because what Nano Dimension is able to do is they're able to really decrease the time that it takes to prototype some of these really complex electric circuitry boards. So what they're able to do is really do this quickly, only in a matter of days. And with the older methods, all of the companies would have to send the actual business blueprint out to China and then have it sent back with the actual model. And this business model actually allows the companies that use Dragonfly LDM and Nano Dimension to actually keep their actual blueprints in-house, and it decreases the risk for any intellectual property theft and significantly decreases the time to market. Revenue boosted by our recurring revenue model, which includes the selling of dielectric and conductive materials, inks used by the Dragonfly LDM for 3D printing. So that's basically a large part of their business model. They're able to have a recurring business model, which is always very good. And the way they do this is actually providing the materials needed to operate the Dragonfly LDM system. And then coming down a little further is one of the most important parts of their earnings announcement that we all need to keep a strong lookout for. If we come down, we can see that they talk about their 2020 milestones and M&A activity, and they engage Needham & Co. to lead the United States mergers and acquisition strategy, and engaged Carl Square from Germany in 2021 for European M&A work. Nano Dimension has raised so much money over the past couple of months, and they need a way to deploy it. And their plan right now is to acquire 1 to 3 companies that are synergistic to what they are doing in their business model right now. It is a very good sign, in my opinion, that they have actually engaged these institutions to actually help them actually get in front of potential acquisition clients. In addition, they've also profiled and scanned more than 80 potential acquisition targets across geographies and electronic industry segments, and contracted and studied a large part of them. So they are taking steps to complete these acquisitions, and I think we could see at least one of these acquisitions be completed by the end of 2021. Now, what does this have to do with earnings? When Nano Dimension is going to talk about their guidance in their conference call, I think the mergers and acquisitions is going to be a large part of their guidance. So if they come out and actually name drop a company that they're looking at or a specific sector of the market that they're looking at, I think we're going to get a nice bump in share price of Nano Dimension. But it is always possible that when Nano Dimension actually completes this acquisition, that we see a small short-term pullback in share price that sometimes can happen when companies do acquisitions, but long term it is a very good sign that they are trying to acquire more companies. So in general, I think Nano Dimension is a very good addition to a portfolio if you are willing to take a little bit more risk with a smaller company in a smaller field. The 3D printing electronics field is going to grow a lot over the next couple of years. ARK has said this a lot, and they are heavily invested in NNDM. And if ARK, with all of their analysts and really great analytical power, is able to put so much money behind Nano Dimension, I think the average everyday retail investor, with the information that is provided to them, could make the decision on investing in Nano Dimension for the long term. But nothing I say is financial advice. These are for educational purposes only, and you guys should always do your own research when thinking about a company to buy. So that's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed what I had for you in this one, please go down and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and make sure you turn on that notification bell so you're notified every single time I post a new video, and you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So I hope you guys are having a really profitable day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.